This is Film Don't Lie on A2D Radio, and we are brought to you by Alonzi Travel, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Reach out to get a quote and start planning. My email below is charles@alonzi-travel.com. And like I said, below, if you need it, it's showing on the ticker for you. Pete, a much better vibe that we have this week compared to last week, but we weren't on last week, but in general, we didn't have a show last week for personal reasons. So if you're tuning back in, thank you for coming on back, and we apologize for the week break. We had both of us, ironically, had personal matters to attend to, but we are back at it, and needless to say, it's a much better vibe this week because last week we're coming off of that humiliating loss to the Giants. And so I think the break for both of us came out.
Humiliating. I was humble.
It was humiliating. I'm going to say humiliating.
Maybe, but it was everything. All the things that had been festering came to roost in that Thursday night. So
They did. It's just that it's against the Giants. If it had been against any other opponent, I would have been like, okay, you take the loss. It's a needed loss. With the Broncos, you lost because you had the flaws, and I was just like, all right, whatever. You lose that game. But the fact that it was against the Giants, and I hate the Giants with a passion. That's what makes it humiliating, and the fact that it was on prime time. God. Okay. So, but the thing is, like I told you and other people, is that there's a quick turnaround for revenge. We could get the last laugh here because this Sunday the Eagles do face them again, and this time in Philly, and we have this opportunity to wash away that Thursday loss and come back and play well and get that victory against them. And the reason why I'm optimistic, and like I said at the top of the show again, the vibes are much more positive because, Pete, we saw for the first time there's signs of life in terms of this Eagles offense actually improving, showing new things.
Concepts, not doing motion for the sake of doing motion, which one of the plays that we're talking about. So to answer your question about, not so much a question, but it is a different vibe. I think we would feel better about, I think we still feel the same way slightly, even if they lost Sunday, because there was improvement in weaknesses that we've seen through the first 6 games of the year. Right. I think that's a fair take and a fair way to look at it.
I think it would have depended on how they lost. Okay, if it was because the defense gave up another last second thing, okay. But if it was because the offense couldn't score,
that's what I'm taking into account. The offense looking as good as it did, putting up 28 points, and then like you said, if somehow, some way the defense wouldn't have been able to hold, and they lose that game, you can come into say, hey, this is outside of a Super Bowl. This was a statement game from Jalen.
Yeah.
Where both AJ and Devontae, I think AJ didn't have 100, but he was close.
No, he had over 100. They both had over 100.
So, Devontae, 9 catches, 183 yards and a touchdown. AJ, over 100 yards. I think he had 5 or 6 catches, 2 touchdowns.
4 catches, 121 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we saw some things with the run game, outside zone. But that's what I'm saying. Just from the offensive perspective, from the mindset, the sequencing, the scheming, and it felt like there wasn't lulls or wasted drives. I may can find 1 or 2 series or whatever, but looks like they were moving the ball efficiently all 4 quarters. Well, against a defense that was
after the first drive, they did go into a lull, but what I will say is that it was. I don't want to give Kevin Patullo a pass because the play calling still wasn't great, but if you look at each drive, they were stalled because of factors outside of play calling. You know what I mean? Like there was like the first, I think I mapped it out, so we'll get into it. But yeah, like there were reasons why each possession kind of failed. After that you can kind of look at it and say, okay, that wasn't because of Patullo here or Patullo there. It was just like one thing that kind of factored in, and then it kind of killed everything. Which, like, you don't want that to happen. You want your offense to be able to overcome those things. But again, I'm just looking at outside of play calling. There are things that happen. But yeah, we'll get into that's what we're gonna lead off with, and then after that, we will get into that insane, that crazy comeback by the Broncos against the said Giants, who will come in here. So they're coming off. The Giants are coming off of a really bad loss. So we'll get into some of that film because that was absolutely bonkers, and I definitely wanted to talk about that and look at what happened in the last 3 minutes of that game that made it that made the comeback complete for the Broncos. So we'll get into that, and of course we'll end with no huddle. But all right, so Eagles, let's do it with this. Like, what is, you name the first thing that kind of popped out to you offensively for the Eagles? Because like I think we all kind of agree right now the defense we're not overly concerned about.
The defense has needs, but they play sound with what they have.
Yeah, and it's ad nauseum now. We all know that we kind of need an edge rusher. We know that BG's coming back. We know that outside corner is still, outside corner 2 is still a thing. But like outside of those, it's like we have there's nothing new about the defense. So we don't.
From a detriment standpoint, no. From a benefit, Nakobe.
Nakobe coming back, yeah.
Nakobe being back,
yeah,
playing with Vaughn. And now you can kind of even utilize Campbell and more, and maybe off the edge or that middle of the field, that linebacker crew all the way up. And I would just say Makuba needs to stop taking so many chances. Makuba he'll have 2 plays where you just scratch your head, and they'll have 3 or 4 where it's just like, all right, I get it.
I know everyone's kind of frustrated with it, but from my perspective, I kind of like expected it. He's a rookie. Yeah. He's a rookie, and he's coming in and having to play like starter snaps, so he's going to have his mishaps, and it's unfortunate. You don't want them. I'm not saying like they're okay, but what I'm saying is like he's a rookie. They're gonna happen. I can't really. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Like I can't expect. Yeah, like I can't expect him to be like a finished product, like a Kyle Hamilton, or right off the gate and say, oh, like, or Earl Thomas, right? Like he's going to make his mistakes, and he's making the mistakes. I think that if anything, I'm glad these mistakes are being made now, because it gives them the opportunity to improve and to work on them. So maybe later in the year, when it gets really crunch time in December and January, those mistakes will be limited. But we know, like we see it. It's just that at least he's offsetting them with some high impact plays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if he's getting these negative plays but not really doing anything else. But he's making these high impact plays to kind of offset and kind of balance things out. So I am not overly concerned about him. There is sometimes, I don't know if you've seen it or heard of it. I think it's kind of ridiculous that there's a narrative that Reed Blankenship hasn't been good. I think that's preposterous. Like he's been exactly what he is.
Like if you're watching film and the defense, the defense has been outside of the Giants game where things just got out of hand. The defense, I haven't looked at the defense and said like, hey, that was the reason why we lost the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Every single day. I'm like,
you didn't go into the game with Carter, and then you lost Q during the game.
Yep. Exactly. So I'm not worried about the defense. Overall, like, are they going to be like a top 3 unit like they were last season? Probably not, but they're like a still very good defense who I think we can rely on to give us a chance to win every week. So I'm not, again, like we spent already like a couple minutes, but like I don't think there's anything crazy to dive into with the defense on film wise. I think maybe the only other thing is how Jahad Campbell saw some snaps at edge rusher because Nakobe came back. I think I don't know. Okay, so I looked these numbers up. I didn't chart them myself because I didn't have time. So if these numbers are a little off, I do apologize. And if you're listening, don't quote me. But from what I understand and what I did research based on Streamer Brain, and I kind of got it off of also Eagles Eric made a post. He made a cut up of all of Campbell's snaps at edge. I believe so. Jahad Campbell played 60 defensive snaps. I think 25 of them were at edge. So it's about 42%. So, a little less than half of his snaps. From what I did see, like not much there. Like he was, as you'd expect, he did a really good job in coverage when he was covering the flat and stuff. So, he's already a great coverage linebacker. So that's not surprising. I think from an edge rusher standpoint, there really weren't that many chances for him or like opportunities to really rush the passer. From a run game standpoint, you can kind of see him. You can kind of see why he's not supposed to be a full-time edge rusher because with him being so light, 230 pounds, he kind of did get pushed back and have trouble setting the edge on stuff. So like that's kind of expected, and that's why I said like this whole conversation of him being an edge rusher like permanently is a little ridiculous.
He's not there yet. He's what, probably 10, 15, 20 pounds lighter than Micah.
That's how much is Micah right now? Because Campbell's like at 230. I'm looking it up right now.
I think Micah might be like 240, 250. I mean, he may be bigger now.
Oh, yeah, so 20 pounds lighter.
Yeah,
20 pounds later. And like Les Bowen brought up a good point too. Like everyone wants Jahad Campbell to be an edge rusher, yet one of the reasons why Bryce Huff didn't pan out was because he's like a smaller guy. I think I looked up his weight real quick. He's listed at
Fangio's team.
Yeah. He's listed at 255, but like I don't like in terms of build, he is definitely not stronger or more muscular or more well built than Micah Parsons, even though he's listed at 5 pounds heavier. So like the muscle distribution is different. But like that's Jahad Campbell is not someone you want there a ton. And you can see, you can kind of get a hint at why. So film wise, I think that's the only other thing to really take away from the Eagles defensive side, but mainly like what we've wanted to see offensive side. Like when are we going to reach a point where we can see the things we've been like wanting to see? I think it was our last show, the preview Giants game, where me and you both kind of ran down our list of solutions for the Eagles offense, right? And we kind of wanted to start to see, some of those things be implemented. And I think safe to say we started to see some of it, and especially like the major stuff. But before we get to that, I talked about it before. I wanted to give like a kind of like drive-by-drive breakdown of what happened after that first possession, because like I said, we had that lull. We had that spurt where in the game where we weren't moving the ball again. And I was like, same old. So like that second possession, so I'm talking about after that touchdown, right? So the second possession of the Eagles, what killed it was like there was an AJ Brown false start, if you remember. I think we were at second and 1 or third and 1, and then like that false. Oh yeah, we were going to run the tush push, and then AJ Brown false start, and then after that, it was that deep on third down. It was that deep shot to Smitty down the sideline, and he kind of like I had said this. I don't know if you had saw it. I think he kind of mistimed his jump a bit. He jumped a little too early. That might have factored into it. So that drop, that's what killed the drive. So like, it's not, to me, that's not play calling. That's execution to me, in my opinion. That's bad penalty and then just an unfortunate, uncharacteristic drop by Smitty. The third possession, let's see, there was a loss of yards on second down, and that's what killed the drive. So you can kind of, I guess you can look at it as that as play calling. The fourth possession, there was a holding penalty on on first down, which backed them up to 1st and 20. And then you have that third and when it was like 3rd and 20, that's when Saquon got called for holding.
Okay.
So that's just self-inflicted wound. That's not play calling. That's execution to me. And then the last one, that's when it was the drive before the half, and they were moving a little bit, but then they had that sack, and then Nick was like, "All right, we're just going in the locker room." I don't.
Yeah. Weren't they at the 40 or something?
What was that?
Weren't they at the 40?
They were like close to midfield, but not there yet.
Yeah.
I think so. What are your thoughts on that? Because like I think everyone was kind of surprised knowing Nick, how aggressive he's always been. Mm-hmm. That was like the first time I've seen him kind of like wave the white flag before the half. I don't agree with it, but I think I can kind of understand it considering how bad the offense was, or how much they were struggling up to that point, and maybe Nick just didn't want to make things worse.
I think he had a feel that maybe they just didn't have it, and maybe it was time for a reset. Yeah, I think at that point the game was 14-9, 14-6 at the half.
6, I think it was 14-6.
So they weren't getting the ball to start the second half. Yeah, I mean, maybe he was just tentative to not run another play, to turn it over and give the Vikings an extra possession. Yeah, I mean, that's the first time we've seen them do that. The opposite. So benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. But you see what I mean? That like each drive, it wasn't necessarily play calling that kind of killed these things, right? It was just kind of like
wounds.
Yeah, something more self-inflicted wounds. And again, I'm not excusing it, but I'm just more of like, you kind of see it from, if we're talking about improvement from play calling, and that's what we're kind of striving for. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say that's the main culprit of the first half struggles. I think that's it's a mix. It's a mix of stuff. It's that, and again, just mistakes by the Eagles. So that didn't really concern me too much from a play calling standpoint. But then let's get to the second half, right? And this is where things pick up, right? This is where, hey, like, where the Eagles are now starting to do some things. And I think we saw in the first half that they were doing more under center stuff. And I was wondering, I was like, is this because of Toth being in there? And my friend on Twitter, Anthony DeBono, did reply that Toth was having, during practices, he had some issues with snaps from shotgun, and he hinted that might have been part of the reason. But then when you hear the Eagles talk post game, it sounded like this was the plan all along, them to be under center more. So they were doing a lot of under center, but then they were starting to do under center play action. And then I'll get to like more of the other stuff like that we saw in the first half too, in terms of outside runs. We'll get into that later. But in terms of the passing game, under center play action, they ran. Okay, so out of 50 offensive plays total, they had 19 under center. 19 of those 50 offensive plays were under center.
Wow.
Out of those 19 plays, 4 of them were play action, and the numbers off of those, 4 for 4, 121 yards total. And if you break it down, it went. The first one was 2 yards. The second one was 79 yards to Devontae Smith with that touchdown, 19 yards and 21 yards. So they were getting these chunk plays off of under center play action. And so it's awesome to see. And Pete, remember, what was it? I think it was the last show. You had asked me, would it help the running game if they went under center more? And I had said no, because they have to pass out of it. And the dominoes will fall. I think this is the beginning of it. If they continue to do stuff, and you can see, like, they only did 4 play action passes, but that's all you need. You don't need to do it.
You don't need a lot.
Yeah, you don't need a lot. 4 out of the 19 That's fine. And you get these chunk plays out of it. Now defenses are going to have to account for that. And as a result, therefore, you're going to have more open space and lighter boxes to account for that. So, I don't I don't know if you had any.
No, I mean, when you said that some of the takeaways, that would have been 2 words: under center. Under center. When you're, and it's beneficial to see us Jalen, to have Jalen perform well under it, using it and utilizing it. But I also may give him some confidence, to give the offense some confidence that now we have these other bag of plays that we can go to, right? That maybe even out of that, you can under center, we saw a couple of tosses, we saw a couple of pitches as well. It's a different look than what you're putting on film. And once again, going into this game, the Vikings were giving up runs, right? They were weak against the run, and they were strong against the pass. And I mean, Jalen I think he had 5 incompletions, 3 touchdowns, over 320. I think it's 326 yards, something like that.
Yeah, I'll pull up the passing chart now. So he had it was 19 to 23, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, a perfect passer rating. Mm-hmm. And then, as you can see at the top, Jalen Hurts completed all 5 of his deep passes of 20-plus air yards for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's big time.
Yeah, I mean, building blocks, and it's crazy to say that in week 7, and for a team that's 5-2, where the fan base and most of the national media has treated them like they're 2-5 or 3-4, right? But this is just the standard that this team is held to. And this, more importantly, as much as we feel about their standard and their level of play, in an NovaCare complex, they hold that standard 2 or 3 times as high. And they know they haven't been playing up to that standard. So when you have that self-measuring stick for you, you want to kind of hit that. And they know what they're capable of. I mean, hell, look at the run they went on in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl, right? That was one of the most dominant Super Bowl wins. That was probably the most dominant Super Bowl win since the 2000 Ravens, in my opinion. You can go back and you can look at the score. Maybe in 2000 Ravens and
Broncos. I think you're talking about Broncos Seahawks too.
Broncos Seahawks. So let's say where we ranked that? Probably 2000 Ravens, 0-1 Bucks. That should have been us.
Oh yeah. That
Bucks versus the Raiders, and then you probably put Broncos Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you go Broncos Panthers Super Bowl 50? I would take this over. I would take this over that.
No, I would take this over that because it was still a close game for most of it.
Right. But it also take into account the opponent. This was the 2-time defending Super Bowl champion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you look at everything, 2-time Super Bowl defending champion, second matchup in the last 3 years, they beat you all the first matchup. I mean, just from all stakes, and I'm not just saying it's a homer. I may have to put it number 2 behind the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that Broncos Seahawks, the Broncos that was an all-time offense.
Yeah, and that botched snap kind of set the tone for the rest of the game. But yeah, if you're talking about there are standards here.
Oh, it was Eric. I'm thinking his name already came to me. I was like, who was the other wide receiver on that Broncos team?
Yeah,
Decker. It was Decker.
Yeah,
Eric Decker.
Yep. And I forget if the slot receiver was already Welker at that point.
I think it was.
Yeah, because I remember when he went from the Patriots to the Broncos. I just don't remember what year, so I don't remember if Welker was there for that Super Bowl game. But yeah, to your point, there are standards here. So I mean, to be able to do that, but like to be able to for Hurts to have this kind of passing performance against this defense, who you could argue is the toughest pass defense in the league, if not one of them, at the very least, not one of them. And how Flores likes to confuse and create chaos pre-snap. And you have all these people who say like the Eagles have been struggling with those kind of things, sim pressures and unorthodox looks from zones, and being able to do this is phenomenal. I don't think we can understate it. So the under center play action stuff definitely was a new wrinkle that you start there and you're like, this is a step in the right direction. I mean, it's not perfect yet. Obviously, still a lot of things to work on still, But I think this is a really good step in the right direction. I hope they continue to do this because this helps the offense not be predictable.
Right.
You know what I mean? We talk about predictability and looking vanilla. This helps them not be predictable. And I already touched on it. This is going to have effects not only for the passing game, but for the run game too. And I'll get into like the outside runs that we talked about in a little bit. But I mean, there are things that doing this under center stuff does help with this, with the offense and passing offense. Now, what are the other things that that I've wanted to highlight from this game? And it touches on there are two things, so two additional things. So both of them are things that I have discussed ad nauseum probably for a while, but especially going into this season, that I wanted to see Jalen Hurts improve on. The first one is accessing the middle of the field at a more consistent rate, like more consistently, and showing you're able to threaten that. I think it was against the Rams in the second half where you kind of like we saw that, and then it kind of went away. And then now we saw it again. So that's the first one, and I'll bring up clips. So this is the third quarter, and this is going to go to Smitty, and I have Smitty here highlighted. You can see the target graphic over here. So 1st and 10, and on this play, again, look, under center, and this is going to be play action, right? So what I love about this is that, as you can kind of see, I'm going to turn it from you can see from here, especially Jalen Hurts, play action, stays. Now watch this line. This is actually safety. Watch here.
What's the key word that we haven't seen? What he was not doing in the Giants game, what he wasn't doing, and who did they play with for the Giants? Was it the Bucks they played with for the Giants?
No, Broncos.
Look where he lets this ball go and his target. Like I don't know why they have to take their back against the wall for them to do stuff like this.
Yeah. But like, yeah, he's I like that because he's going to stay in the pocket. He's going to step up, but the patience here, and he has to wait for the safety to kind of come down. Come down on Goddard, who's late releasing. He has a slow release into his route. So now the safety is going to come down and get Goddard, and that's what opens up this window for Smitty. And so Hurts lets it go right at the last second before the defender can get to him, and then completion. This goes for, I forget how many yards. This was 9. Is this 19 yards? I'm trying to
19, 20 yards, but the anticipation, he threw to a spot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he can do it. They can do it. And to be honest, if you put more stuff on film like this, it's going to make everything easier to where it doesn't have to be this hard.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. I don't like the condensed formation stuff, but it worked out here again. And it's just good patience by Hurts to see this and wait for that safety. Waiting for that safety for that second window to kind of open up, and then boom, there.
Yeah.
And the flag was picked up. I don't think it was a flag, so it was a good. I thought it was a good pickup.
What, they threw a flag for what, roughing or something?
It was like a defensive receiver initially, but they picked it up saying he wasn't defenseless, and I thought that was the right call. So I was like, that's perfectly fine. I don't mind that. So
Devontae is small, man.
Small, yeah. You see, it was just literally like it was like a tap to the top, and then he goes like flying to the ground. So yeah, he's a light dude. But the second play, again, this was in the fourth quarter, and you see Devontae now at the top to the boundary side of the formation. And this one, I want you to keep an eye on Hurts and his pocket movement here. So play action, and look at him drift back. Okay, so rewind it a little bit. On here, you're gonna see Hurts after the play action here, drift back. Now look at him reset. I love that he's going to reset, throw from a really good platform and base, and then let it rip. Okay, so Devontae Smith, he's coming. I'm going to rewind it back again. He starts off at the top, boundary side, isolated receiver, and he's pretty much just running that dig route. And
secondary for Minnesota had a lot of blown coverages, man. But I think 50. That was a linebacker. So like the play design against that defensive call put the Eagles at an advantage because you have a linebacker trying to shell out and cover a flat that's just not even there.
Well, that's what we talk about. That's the case with the Vikings usually, right? Because we talk about like the chaos and confusion that Brian Flores brings to his defense. He does these exotic things, but if you can block up his stuff and you can properly pass protect, there are ways for them to be had because they're doing all that stuff. So if they're sending odd rushers to the quarterback and they don't get home, there are ways to kind of exploit those holes in their coverage. And so this is how you are successful against Brian Flores. You have to make sure your pass protection is on point, and then you find the voids, and they're absolutely able to be found. So these two throws, middle of the field, again, awesome stuff by Jalen Hurts on this offense. Keep doing that. Keep doing the middle of the field stuff because there's so many ways for this offense to attack defenses like that, and they need to do that. Any last things on the middle of the field stuff before I go?
No. I don't know why I took 3 extra days. I'm glad they figured it out. Because it shows that when they all come together and they're on the same page, that the coaches can coach.
Yeah,
and we've heard of that. Like there's people that we follow on X that have some close ties to coaches in that building. They said like the coaches in that building are good coaches. They're bright football minds, and it's just not equating to what we're seeing on Sundays. So, like I said, you got to start somewhere. And to be fortunate enough to be 5-2 and not playing your best, and not being healthy,
and not being healthy,
Yep.
All right. So the second point of the passing game, I wanted to talk about Hurts being able to scramble, get outside the pocket, but pass, throw downfield instead of always running. I needed to see improvement in that area, and there are 2 plays, huge plays, where
the first play that you're going to run is he scrambles, but he climbs up in the pocket.
Yes, so he climbs up in the pocket first. Look at that, boom, and then gets out. I love that. We always talked about how his tendency, especially earlier in his career, was to bail out the back of the pocket, right?
Yep.
But awesome job here to step up and then boom, outside. Now he's able to. He's not coming from a place of depth. He's not coming out back of the pocket. So he's in a better place, being able to see the field better. And then as I rewind it, so Devontae Smith, he's the number 1 receiver to the field side here at the bottom of your screen, and he's running he's just running out and up, right? But he's going to work back and look at Jalen Hurts, eyes downfield, and as Smitty works back, he gets that pickup. Phenomenal throw, phenomenal play. I mean, this was 3rd and 15 late in the third quarter. 3rd and 15, and this picks up 28 yards. So, again, just
killers. They're killers for the defense because you think you're getting off the field.
Yep. Boom, boom. And so, this is, again, being able to make plays like this. And this is both on Hurts and Smitty because, I talked about how, when it comes to the scramble drills, these receivers have to do a better job of working back to Hurts, right? It's not only on Hurts. These receivers have to be on the same page. And Hurts and Smitty were on the same page here. Loved it. This was I thought this was my favorite passing play of the game. This one to me, this was my personal favorite. So
I like that. There's one I like a little bit more as far as this is Jalen creating off schedule somewhat, and kudos. We'll see it in the next scramble that you're gonna show, the 4th quarter one. That was 3rd and 13.
AJ, yeah. So we have AJ here. This is the
this particularly one of the things we heard is in the Giants game where he was kind of under pressure is the wide receivers in their scramble drill was complete booty cheeks. They weren't coming back towards the ball. You can kind of see it here. AJ, he kind of, not say throttles down here, goes to the out, spins with the hitch. He takes it upfield to come back. You see, like he's setting back up. He's like, okay, my play was the hitch, right? So let me just stretch that a little bit and work my way back to my quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Good point.
So that's all communication, and realistically, that's all holding everyone accountable. Somebody on film had to say, like, hey, like if it's not there for Jalen, like look back, see what's going on, and if you can work yourself back to your quarterback, work yourself back to the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and AJ, he may have the strongest hands of any wide receiver in the league right now.
it's him. He's in contention. It's like him.
I was put Cortland Sutton up there.
Cortland Sutton. I was gonna say Puka.
Puka too.
Oh, Drake London. Oh yeah. So awesome stuff by AJ. And to your point too about like being on the same page with Jalen, that's what happened on the first touchdown pass,
right?
Where AJ, it's funny because like you could make an argument AJ didn't even really run a route. Like he ran into the safety and was just like whatever. But then he looked back to Jalen, and Jalen pointed, and you could kind of just I said in the chat, I was like, as this play develops, you see it happening, like because you could see AJ in the broadcast view, and Jalen pointing, and then the minute he points, I'm like, oh, he's going to AJ. Like he's telling AJ to run deep. He's going straight to AJ. So like you could see that happening as it develops. So good job with them being on the same page. The last Eagles film clip I'm going to show is the touchdown, AJ's second touchdown. All right,
which is my favorite pass play.
This is your favorite pass play. So like
the throw, the setup, the motion, to create the space, and you can kind of see. I don't know if you'll catch it here. I don't know what the internal signal is, but Jalen puts his right arm down. And he puts the number 3. Puts 3 fingers, if I'm not, and he looks towards him. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that call is, and then the throw, and it's just enough spacing to get to say no. He has the safety in the middle of the field, which it looks like that's Harrison Smith. Shout out to him. He's still in the league.
He's still in the league. My God.
But that throw is just like, dude, this is the type of stuff that people say Jalen could do, and you have those Jalen truthers. Like he can do all these things that you say he can't do. We just don't get to see it on a consistent basis, which is the craziest thing, is because it's like he's winning and is a Super Bowl MVP with not playing like this consistently. Some guys have to play like this and they can't win with their B game. They can't win with their C game. So that's a testament to the team that Howie and the roster they constructed. It's a testament to the coaches. It's also a testament to Jalen, because when he needs to turn it on, he can turn it on, right?
Yeah.
So you didn't hear anything about any discontention or bad vibes. Listen, both your wide receivers, and I will say this: one thing, AJ and Devontae went off. I still think they can use Jahan. I think they're probably going to incorporate more third wide receiver when Darius Cooper gets healthy, which is crazy to say.
Maybe,
you know, I would love to see it. I would love to see it, but I mean, when you got Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 on the outside,
and then you got Goddard still, and Saquon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rag of riches, man.
Yep, yeah, it is. But what I like about this play too, because they call it double post, right? So this is a great way, especially against man, against single high, to exploit the single high safety. But this is, I had tweeted this out. I said like, this is evidence of why spacing matters, and we had talked about they have to stop condensing stuff so much and stop with so much stack alignments. What I like here is that they are going to, so AJ is going to do short motion. He's going to motion out wide. So now he's spread out, right? So now you can kind of dictate to the defense, okay, we're going to do this. When you have stacked alignments, you can't do that as much. So you have here, he does short motion. He's out wide, outside the numbers. Double post, but from him, because Smitty's in the slot and AJ's out wide. So Jalen now is winding up the throw, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't even hit the top of his route yet. AJ's not at the top of his route. This is phenomenal anticipation by Jalen, like you said, phenomenal anticipation. But not only that, this is phenomenal ball placement because it goes exactly where it needs to go. I mean, it's a window, but it's not even the biggest window, but it goes exactly where it needs to go. And then I talk about route spacing because of the way that double post is, and you have that spacing. That's what opens up the window. But when you have these two-man route concepts that are from stacked alignments, you don't get stuff like this, and the Eagles just don't execute and run those route concepts well. They run these well. So as you can see, Jalen, he has that spacing, he has that window, that tight window, and it goes literally like right where you need it to be. That's you can't get any better than that, and it leads to a touchdown. So it's just phenomenal stuff. You have a good argument of this being like the best pass play of the game.
As far as a throw, window, anticipation, he had a lot. To be just 5 or 6 throws this game. This one here, and at the spot in the game that it was in.
Yeah.
Only being up 2. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Only being up 2. And we said it like, hey, like, look at the Tampa Bay game. Things got out of control. The defense needed to hold on. Yeah. Right? Like, could the offense answer and put the game away?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is the first time this year that the offense had the final say so, and they put the game away.
Yeah. So awesome stuff on the passing. And again, as we move forward, they need to keep doing this stuff. Get more consistency, middle of the field throws. Get more consistency out of Hurts scrambling and throwing downfield. Get more consistency out of using these under center plays and using play action, passing off of it. Because we see now what you can do when you run play action out of center.
Yep.
And you can do the same similar things out of pistol. It doesn't have to always be out under center. Do it out of pistol as well. You'll get similar results. You get similar kind of outcomes and kind of like impact. So I love it. The other thing that we talked about that we wanted to address is the run game, the other part of the offense. We saw in the first half they were having success. I think Dennis on Twitter, Dennis Seelman, he had these success rates while for the first half and the second half. In the first half on dropbacks, the success rate was 21%. In the second half, 67%. So we talked about tail of 2 halves for the passing offense. They kind of woke up in the second half, but the run game was the opposite. So the first half it was a 50% success rate. Second half it was 18%. So they were really struggling in the second half. But what I will say, as I was watching the film, what I will say, and I've been talking about how I want them to have more runs to the outside. So I charted, so out of Saquon's 18 run plays, 18 carries, 10 of his carries were outside run concepts. So they were using outside zone and tosses, right? So 10 of them. Out of those 10, for those 10, they totaled 43 yards, which is 4.3 yards per carry, and they had an overall success rate of 50%, which is good. So 50% success rate when running outside for the game, right, on these concepts. So it's good. Now, out of the 5 successful runs, 3 of them were in the first quarter when Cam Jurgens was in. So, I mean, if Cam Jurgens is still is starting.
Did you get an update on him, by the way?
What was that?
Did we get an update on him, by the way?
I haven't heard anything yet. So we shall see. But if he's starting, that's a good sign. So that three of the 5 successful runs from the game were in the first quarter with Cam Jurgens. Now Toth comes in. Out of the 2 successful runs after the first quarter, Toth had a good block, successful block on one of them. Out of the 4 successful runs after the first quarter, out of the 4 unsuccessful runs after the first quarter, Toth had a bad or missed block on 3 of them. So this kind of goes to show that it was like Toth, for the most part, was a big factor in the lack of success in the run game. And that goes to kind of as expected. I mean, I'm not I can't be too mad at Toth because he's a backup center for a reason, right?
Right.
He's not a starter, so like, yeah, he's not performing well, but I mean, can you expect him to perform too highly? You can't your expectations can't be that high. So,
Right.
but that was kind of what happened. But I can't, and I said this on Eagles Talk because we were talking about it with Les and Brinks. Like, I've been saying for them to run more outside stuff, and Kevin Patullo did. It's not his fault that Toth had to come in because Jurgens got hurt.
Right.
And so it was one of those things where it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, don't run out more outside, like you're just doing the same old predictable stuff. But if you do, you're still at a loss because Toth is in there. Jurgens. So like, I can't blame him from that aspect. Like, I do not blame Kevin Patullo for the lack of success of the run game this week. It's just, it's not his fault that Jurgens got hurt, and he was doing what I expected him to do. So the process to me from the run game aspect was fine. And I think that if he keeps this up, you're going to have a successful run game as the season goes on, as long as the offensive line stays healthy. So that's my takeaway from the run game. I don't know if you had anything to add for the run game.
Yeah. No, I mean, there were some glimmers, there was some hope, and then, I mean, with the success of the passing game that they put on film this past week, defenses may approach them a little bit differently, but they have been seeing. So the thing is, they've been seeing heavy boxes and they still been seeing light boxes, and they still haven't been able to execute or run the ball effectively. A lot of that goes into the line play.
Yeah.
So
goes to the line play, and it's I have been saying that when it comes to the struggles of the run game, it's not just one or the other. It's in both the offensive line, the injuries and the lack of execution, and Kevin Patullo. It's two-sided. Like, it's been both of them. It's not just one. I know that a lot of fans want to point the finger at just one person, but it's not. It's both factors coming into play. But it's a good thing that we're kind of seeing the Kevin Patullo do his part now. So, as long as Jurgen comes back,
he's not inept.
Yeah, he's not inept, and I think that it's a good sign. This was, again, far from perfect overall. Still some frustrating stuff, but at least we've seen improvement. At least there's now like, we're seeing these new wrinkles, and got to give credit to Kevin Patullo. Like, we have to, because you had this long break after the Thursday Night Football game and the loss. What are you able to call now? And I'm sure he also listened to his players, right? And what they want to see and what they want to do. So good stuff. Let's just please keep it going. Please don't like hit another block in the roadblock. This Sunday against the Giants. We need that win. So.
I mean, to distance yourself more, because I think the Cowboys now have 3 wins. Who knows how long Jaden's going to be out? You have a 2-game lead in the division. Like we always say, the first things first is winning your division, right? And
losing 2 games to the Giants losing 2 games to the Giants does put you back a bit, because that's 2 losses to the same divisional opponent. That's you can't afford that. So you have to.
I wonder what the line is on the game.
I haven't checked yet. I don't check that stuff till like Thursday, Friday. So I don't know. All right, so that's awesome. We spent 50 bulk of the show diving deep into the Eagles film, but for good reason, because we wanted to see that. But I did want to also talk about probably the headliner from Week 7, the crazy game that was the Broncos-Giants game, and it just
Eagles are favored by 7.5. By the way,
Christ. Okay, all right. I don't know how if I want to get too I don't know if
that's that Fangio gonna have something different for Jackson Dart this time.
Yeah, he better. And Jalen Carter and Quinion should be playing, so that'll help. But yeah, that Broncos Giants game,
crazy,
insane.
Well, the game itself wasn't crazy. The last 15 minutes was
the last quarter
out of this world.
what is going on? It
takes it takes a team to execute well, but it also takes a team to just have uncharacteristic mistakes. And then I think who was listening to where they said, like, you can tell by the fourth quarter in that thin air, the Giants offense and defense was just gassed. I mean, you had a bounce to Theo Johnson for a touchdown. Now that came on third down.
My God,
like that. If you take that away, then we're probably not even there. There was some other uncharacteristic things that the Broncos did that they haven't done all season. But the Giants, man, it's tough. And now you have to see how they bounce back from that. But I know you have a couple plays from that game, especially from Bo Nix and his deep passes.
Yeah, because my biggest takeaway, because we could talk about a bunch of stuff from this game, specifically the fourth quarter. But what I wanted to say most of all is, Bo Nix, he hasn't been good so far this season. And I think the one thing that has kind of held him back is that he continues to not be a good deep ball passer.
Right.
And that add that to, and then there's other problems with the Broncos offense, which just continue to be like red flags because their offense hasn't been good this year overall. Right. It has not been good. They rely and I know that's uncharacteristic of a Sean Payton offense, but like you kind of wonder because Sean Payton was so adamant that Bo Nix is like the best quarterback prospect in that draft class, right? And so high on him. But when you watch his offense, it's like he calls the game as if he's trying to hide Bo Nix. And it's just you can't live like that. Like most of their offense runs through like easy passes, like bootlegs, throws to the flat, RPOs, QB run games, screenplays. Like it's all short stuff, and then Nix can't hit on these deep balls. So like that's what held them back. It's so funny because there were, I think, 7 deep shots that Bo Nix took throughout the whole game. 7. The first 5 were incomplete. The first 5 throughout the game were incomplete, just misses, and this is on point for how Bo Nix has been playing.
Right.
However, the last 2, which came within the last 3 minutes of the game, were complete, which was
one to Mims.
One to Mims, and we'll show all of these, but the 31-yarder to Mims, a 29-yarder to Mims, which was that play, and then technically the third one wasn't. They didn't. So NFL Pro didn't chart this as like a deep shot because in terms of air yards, it only went 19 yards, and they charted as air yards of 20 plus. So this wasn't technically a deep shot, but I'm gonna count it as a deep shot because it was a back shoulder fade ball and it was pretty much right around 20 yards. So like I'm still gonna technically count it. So those 3 deep shots were the last 3 of the game for Nix. He hit on, and that's what kind of led to the comeback. It's just so ironic, like how it panned out in terms of craziness of the game. And we could talk about like you talked about the deflection of Theo Johnson tip ball that led to a touchdown. You could talk about the penalties on the Giants drive, like the roughing the passer and the DPI. Talk about that. We could talk about so many other things, but like, yeah, I want to get to these deep balls by Nick. So this is going to go to, we saw Mims. The Giants are in man coverage. Mims is in the slot, and he's going to throw this up. Now you can decide. I would chart this. I would consider this a good throw because Mims, in terms of the coverage, you see the DB. I think that's Andrew Phillips. He's pretty much
Phillips,
he's even with Mims kind of, but like I don't think there's enough separation there to lead Mims forward. I think maybe
it's almost like he planned for the underthrow for the back though.
Yeah. Like so, maybe I'm wrong, but to me, I think this is good ball placement instead of kind of leading him forward, I have no problem because I don't think there's enough separation for Mims to be led forward with the pass. So I think this is good ball placement by Nix to hit Mims on the back shoulder. And Mims, who's not a big guy, but he comes down with the ball. So good stuff there. And then this was on. Now it gets crazy. All right. So this was on the 33 seconds left. This was after the Giants took the lead and they missed the extra point. So they're only up by 2.
Huge. And that was the second one. I think that was the second one he missed during the game.
Yeah. Something like that. Because he had missed something. But so Nix is in the slot. Mims is in the slot again. Courtland Sutton is going to be out wide, motioning out wide. This is going to be a dig route. Okay. So Mims is technically the clear out. He's going to run just go down the seam as the clear out route for Courtland Sutton on the dig route, right? Mm-hmm. So as we see it play out, he's going to run up. All right. So here's Nix letting this go. There's Sutton, right? Running the dig. And this is the clear out by Mims.
Did he take that route too deep?
No, this is exactly what he's supposed to do because he's supposed to pull this defender. But you'll see what happens, and you'll get a better view of it when I switch it to the end zone camera. But this is for Sutton. He is 100% throwing this to Sutton. This is supposed to go to Sutton. But it gets overthrown, but Mims sees it, and he stops and comes down with the pass. And you'll see it here on this angle, right? So again, look how he opens it. This is 100% going to Sutton on the dig.
So route. Sutton is the target here.
Yeah. Look at so Mims stops because he sees the ball and he's great. This is a heads up play by Mims.
Very heavy.
He's supposed to just run straight. He's the clear out, but he turns his head, sees the pass, and is like, maybe I should try catching this. And thank God he did. He comes down with it right there. Talk about just irony or dumb luck, but Mims does a really good job here. Again, look, he's just the clear out. He's just clearing it out, but he turns his head. If you can see it, he turns his head, and now he sees the ball and is like, okay, maybe I'm just gonna catch it.
See, when I originally watched this, I thought Mims was the target the whole time.
A lot of people do, but no, the concept is a dig. It's a dagger concept. So Sutton is running a dig while Mims is the clear out. But because Mims sees the pass, he turns his head and sees the pass coming to him, and he's like, I'm just gonna catch it. It's so funny how that turned out. It 9 times out of 10, that's not gonna happen that way. I guarantee you, because it's not supposed to. And then this is the last one. This is the play that gets them officially set up for the field goal. They're going to run Mims and Sutton are going to run a switch release. So Sutton is now motioning to the slot while Mims is outside. And again, switch release. Or is that Troy Franklin? I'm sorry. That might be Troy Franklin, number 11. I apologize. He's running.
Yeah, Franklin's number 11.
Yeah. So he's running here. Sorry. Sutton is going to run the pretty much like the wheel route here. And then he just comes out. Again, another beautiful back shoulder ball. Like I said, this isn't charted as a deep pass, but I'm going to count it as a deep ball because it goes 19 yards, but it's essentially right. So, but Nix hits him right. Beautiful. This was, to me, I thought is even better ball placement than the one to Mims that went for 31 yards. I think this is perfect placement where Sutton's going to get it, and then he comes down with it, and then, as we all know, Broncos hit the field goal, they win the game. So sometimes it's just about luck and it's just irony. But Nix, again, despite his
struggle, I'll be more curious to see what if Fangio takes from Vance Joseph to what they did in the fourth quarter to kind of slow the Giants down. Because just as much as I'm not too it sounds crazy, I'm not concerned about the Giants' defensive line versus our offensive line. Because the defensive line for the Giants, and we said this before the season even started, they have 4 top 20 picks, and now they're starting to play like it. But I'm curious to see if they have an answer to Jackson Dart. And if it's as simple as Jalen Carter is that answer, then so be it.
I think they also have to make sure they get better. The defensive line as a whole has to play better. They have to be more physical. I mean, it's not like this Giants offensive line is great. The defensive line has to do a better job of controlling the line of scrimmage because that's going to dictate. Because Scatterbo killed them, so they're going to have to really make sure they limit it. I mean, the run game of the Giants is what really killed the Eagles defense. But it starts up front, and it sounds so cliche, but it really does because that's how you're going to be able to stop stop guys like Scatterbo, and then because Scatterbo he's not explosive, so if you're able to crowd him, he's not going to be able to create as much. He's not that type of running back. We're behind the line of scrimmage. It's kind of similar. I'm not going to say this is not a 1-for-1 comparison. Anyone listening, please don't make it seem like I'm saying this. But you know how Derrick Henry, like the thing about him, they talk about the way to stop him is making sure he doesn't get a forward momentum or a running start behind the line of scrimmage. Force him to go east-west so that you can kind of like stop him that way. Because once he gets his momentum building, that it's over.
Right.
In a similar way, that's what we want to do with Scatterbo. You don't want him to get that momentum going forward. You don't want him to be able to get to that second level where he's able to use his power and strength to really punish defenders. You got to crowd him and have the defensive line swarm tackle him, right? So that's how you want to just control the line of scrimmage that way, and then you got to finish these sacks on Dart. Like, you've got to.
And I think Nakobe putting Jihad at the edge and putting Nakobe in there, his third game back, not so much spy, but yeah, because I feel like in the first game two Thursdays ago, as of this Thursday this week, 2 weeks ago, is they lost containment a lot.
And you could think
lanes were not there.
Yeah, and Bond was spying, but like you could kind of see that like he was a little tired. I mean, he didn't have the usual legs under him as he usually does. But yeah, like if you're talking about a guy who is going to spy, I do think Dean would be good in that role of spying Dart because Dean is so good, like getting downhill. So I agree. I think this is another game where you can really utilize Dean, and maybe that'll be a way to kind of contain Dart, on these scramble plays because you got to finish. You've got to be able to finish and get him down. And the pass rush lane integrity has to be much better. Like it was horrible on that Thursday night. So it starts with the run game from both Dart and Scatterbo. You got to stop that, and then everything else will be fine after that. So all right, no huddle. You have anything you want to start?
Man, listen, it's a crapshoot. It's Daniel Jones for MVP, Indiana Jones. I called it like week 2. He may finish first, and then listen, Jonathan Taylor, boy, God,
he's balling.
Contact every which way, inside, outside. It doesn't matter. Steichen for Coach of the Year through 7 games. Tyler Warren, maybe Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's living up to everything we need to be. Colts is legit, man. I mean, because listen, they went to LA and it was
easy work for them. It was easy work for them. My God.
Lou Anarumo, obviously out of the Cincinnati, now in Indy. Not a lot of names on defense, but the guy I'm playing as a unit. Yeah, it's
real. They're legit. What I love about them is that they are just playing so in sync. It's like everything is meshing together, and they complement, like especially on offense, they complement each other so well. So like I don't know if I've brought this up on the show before, but like each wide receiver has their own skill set. And it's unique to them, and it complements what everyone else does. Like Downs is your typical slot receiver, like one of the better slot receivers in the league. Pittman is like your intermediate weapon, right? He runs those like digs. He's good on those dig routes, so he's your intermediate weapon. And then you have Tyler Warren at tight end, who's just you scheme up stuff for him, and he can make plays with the ball in his hands. Jonathan Taylor it's him and Bijan as the best running backs in the league this year. So like Jonathan Taylor is just an elite weapon at running back. You just have so many. I'm probably missing some. Oh, Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce has to be one of the better deep ball guys. Like you literally just that is his specialty. Just throw up one or two deep balls to him, and he'll come down with them. Right? Like that's what he does. And so again, they're all unique and different, but they complement each other so well. And then Steichen knows how to use them in that manner. And then Daniel Jones is doing what he needs to do. He's playing really sound and really well. Steichen is calling masterful play calls, knows how to sequence stuff, knows how to every week he knows how to attack certain defenses, and call certain plays to exploit defenses on each week. They're all on the same page. They're all blocking as a unit. The offensive line is playing outstanding. Like if you were to say who was the best team in the AFC, I think Colts would make you can make an argument for the Colts at least being the second best team behind the Chiefs. And
that's the fearful part because listen, AFC, the Chiefs gave you a head start and y'all fucked that up.
Yeah, now they're clicking and they have Rasheed Rice back, so now they're gonna figure stuff out. And now the rookie running back Rashard Smith is being utilized more. So you could give them the benefit of the doubt too, because obviously they've been there, done that. So they're number one. But yeah, I would have to give my hat to the Colts as the second best team in the AFC. They are clicking. Shout out to Steichen and them. They're just I don't know how anyone else in the AFC is going to really, as long as they stay healthy and they keep doing this.
If you gotta go to Kansas City, no.
Yeah,
you have a shot. You have a shot if you get them on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and so you got what? I think you got the top two seeds in the AFC right now is Colts 6-1, and I want to say the Patriots at 5-2.
Patriots another surprising one. They are Drake May. You talking about MVP candidates? Drake May is in that
fantasy. He's definitely MVP for fantasy. I can tell you that.
Gosh, Drake May, baller. He is the future. Like absolutely, he's that guy. So they're doing really really good stuff. For mine, is it time to say the Commanders are probably done? Because hold on. Because what's their record right now? Their record right now is 3-4. You want to know their schedule? The upcoming schedule?
I mean, listen, before you do that, not saying the Commanders are right, wrong, or different. You got to pay somebody with their past performance. But that money you pay Terry ain't doing jack diddly squat.
He's hurt. And then now we're seeing they don't have enough weapons on the outside, as we've been saying. Yep. And a lot of I wish I put up the data and the stats. I don't, but a lot of the regression or the regression back to the mean that we had alluded to is happening. They're not as last year. I think there were 80% successful on fourth down conversions. That ain't happening this year. These one-score games that they continually won, we see in history of the league when you are a team that relies on winning these close games and winning so many of them. Usually, the next year that's not the case, and that's happening. The schedule for them the next 3 games, because you said what are they now? They are
3-4.
3-4, right? Okay. You tell me which of the next 3 games they're winning. Monday night against the Chiefs. Sunday night against the Seahawks. And then that's in Washington, but it's Sunday night.
No.
Yeah. And then the following one is 425 game against the Lions. Those are the next 3 games. If I could put money down on them now, on the money line on each game for them to lose those next 3 games, I would do it right now. I'm about to look it up because if I could put a parlay together where they're going to lose each of those 3 games, I would put it down.
Right.
They're going to be 3-7. I think it's going to take a miracle, like close to. Let me be a little nice. It's very
a little nice.
It's improbable that they come away with 1 win out of the next 3 games. If all those teams play how they're supposed to play, it's very, 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 very difficult for the Commanders to come away with 1 win. And keep in mind, like you said, Jaden Daniels, who knows when he's hurt again, right? And that's another thing.
Is it a knee or is it a hamstring?
Hamstring? I don't remember. I think it's a hamstring. Hamstring. It was a hamstring. But that's another thing. He keeps getting hurt. What was one of the knocks against him as a prospect? He doesn't know. He takes too many hits. Yep. He takes way too many. He doesn't know how to protect himself. So Commanders are in trouble. I think pretty much they'll be 3-7 from my prediction, and then is that going to be too big of a hole to climb out of? Because after that, it's the Dolphins. Okay. They'll beat the Dolphins. I think that's international game too. Well, they'll beat the Dolphins, but then
anybody can beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next game though, you have the Broncos, and then they travel to Minnesota, and then they play the Giants, they play us, they play the Cowboys, and then us. So their last 4 games are divisional games. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's
going for the Eagles, this is, you get through this one, then you have the bye, and then proverbial shit hits the fan because you got Green Bay, then you got the Lions, then you got Dallas.
Yeah. That Green Bay and Detroit run on the schedule that's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I'm not first one to say I'm not too concerned with Green Bay. I'm not. Where they play them here or they play them on the road?
I don't know.
I think they play them here.
Green Bay. Hold on.
One of them they're here. They're one's on the road, one's home.
Let me see. Hold on. I'll check. So Lions is home, Packers is away. Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Green Bay.
But I think the Lions is that a Monday night? Is that a Sunday night?
I think the Monday night is the Packers one.
I'm gonna say one of them's on Monday, one's on Sunday.
Yeah, I think Monday is Packers. Yeah.
So you got a road game
on Monday night, and then the following Sunday is a home game against the Lions.
So the following Sunday.
Yeah.
So they play the Packers after the bye.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I'm with you in terms of out of this 2, I'm obviously more concerned against the Lions.
I think the Lions is more the litany test.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm obviously more concerned about that one, but I'm also not running off the Packers because the Packers are one of those teams where any given week they could just blow up in terms of just everything hits. The frustrating thing about them is looking at the players they have and the coaches, they just make things harder on themselves, and for some reason they're not playing to what they should be. And that's on everyone. They make these dumb decisions and they make things it shouldn't be this difficult for them, and they're making it this difficult. So, but again, those 2 games I think are going to be tough because they're NFC North teams that absolutely have the firepower to go toe to toe with you. They have the talent. So it's going to be tough. So, but we got to win this game against the Giants first and get into the bye and see how things go from there. Anything else you got on the docket?
No, sir. No,
all right.
That is it for me.
All right. For those who are listening and tuned in, thank you so much for tuning into Film Don't Lie. This is the show where we give you film analysis and breakdowns of a couple games each week and our thoughts on the league as a whole. So we appreciate you tuning in. Remember, every Wednesday morning at 8:30 a.m. is when the show comes out, so you can listen to it on YouTube or watch it on YouTube so you can see like the film, or you can download us and listen to us on your commute via wherever you download your podcast. Thank you to our sponsor again, Alonzi Travel. Make sure you reach out to me for planning a vacation. Let me help you. Trust me, especially Disney or Universal. Let me help you plan that vacation. My email is
let me help you. Let me be the one to put
email is Charles
cruising the seas.
For myself, for Mr. OGP, Pete Evans, and the rest of us.
Your jingles, man.
Yeah. And the rest of us at A2D, we appreciate it. Catch all the other shows on the docket that we have for you, and we will catch you same time next week. Until then, go Birds. Peace out.
Peace.